Hey folks, welcome back to the shop here at Markelly Farm. As promised, we've got some shop work to do. We are going to get back on the cubby here. We're going to start getting some parts out that we took off here, get them cleaned up and get them painted. Stick around, we're going to get her did. So we've got a few days of good weather here in the last part or kind of the middle of December, which is unheard of. We're going to be in the 50s where we can actually do some painting. The paint that we use says a minimum of 50 degrees. We're going to be a little bit over that. So it's going to be fantastic. I was kind of bummed that we were already in winter and I hadn't got any of this painting done because of harvest and everything else that was going on. So I'm real excited to have a chance to get some of this stuff painted and put back on the tractor so we can get the rear end of this thing sewed up, and then we can start pulling sheet metal and start getting that motor to fire, which I don't think is going to take very long. But let's get after it. We need to start pulling some parts out of the shop here. Got a wheelbarrow full of parts here that we need to pull out. Some of this stuff in boxes is new that I had to purchase. I had to purchase a battery box because the other one was shot, if you remember. But we definitely need to get this floor plate out. We need to get the fenders out and the battery box and the seat post, stuff like that. Start getting her cleaned up so we can get some paint. All right, I got me a little work table set up out in the sun. It's a little warmer out there. So the first thing we need to do are the two fenders and the platform, because those go on first. And I just realized when I pulled these fenders out that they're ambidextrous. They're carbon copies of each other. They all have the same holes, so it doesn't matter which side they get bolted to. So we'll start getting these things cleaned up. We'll start working these parts one at a time. So we're using wire wheel to clean all this up. We have several options, but this battery hold down or battery box hold down, the screw on the end of it's all rusted solid, and the new battery box comes with new hardware. So we're just going to cut that off and get it out of the way. Well, we wore our wire wheel down to a nub to where it's not working very well anymore, but we've got both of the fenders, the paint off of them. Probably hit it with some fine sandpaper. And yeah, it's just a tractor, but might as well give it the best chance we can. Here's our floor plate and our other fender here. So Kelly's going to get me a new wire wheel on the way home. But I think I'll pull the battery box out. I think I'll get the DA sander and scuff up the outside of it. Now this new battery box comes powder coated. And it's a shame they don't powder coat it in International Red because it's for international tractors. So I don't know why they would do it black. But we'll leave the inside powder coated and probably the bottom. So all we got to do is scuff the sides and the top so it'll hold some paint, and we'll make that red. Got the surface all sanded. I just got to come in here with some hand sanding in the corners and then get these surfaces that I couldn't do right around in these corners as well. And this will be done, ready for paint. Don't go nowhere, but we'll see you again tomorrow in this video. We're going to wrap things up for today. It didn't get warm enough today. It was only about 47 today. Couldn't paint, but the goal is tomorrow we're going to get the rest of this stuff cleaned up that we need to mount on the back of the tractor, and then over the next couple days we'll get it painted. It'll be in this video. So see you tomorrow. All right, folks, we are back out here the next day. It's starting to warm up. It's about 40 degrees. Got a little breeze, but that's not going to stop us. So we need to get back cleaning this stuff up. My plan is to get everything cleaned up, wiped down, and get the primer on today. And I want to do it in 2 sprays, because I'll spray one side, wait the couple hours that it takes for it to become dry to the touch. We'll flip everything over and then spray the back side. And then that way we can be sure to get the red paint on this stuff this week. We have a little drop in temperature tomorrow. It's not supposed to be quite 50 degrees, but it's supposed to be warm Thursday and Friday. And then tomorrow we got a surprise anyway. So hopefully we can get enough done or we'll finish up this week. I had to clean up some messes first. Ruby has a knack of doing her business right where people need to walk. I don't know why she does that. Kelly acquired a new wire wheel for me because, like we showed you yesterday, that one's toast, so we got to get that changed out real quick. So this is basically what we have left. We have our seat post. We have the spring that goes on the seat post with its little follower here. And then we have the seat and the post itself. The seat was pretty well trashed. The OEM seats have some foam glued down to the pan, and then the fabric is crimped into the edge here. So it was trash. So we're going to try to salvage just the plain seat pan that we can use to sit in. It doesn't have to have cushions. And they make a seat cover that you can buy that goes over that we can use as a cover. We're probably going to pull the seat post off. I put some penetrating oil on our bolts yesterday to jumpstart getting those loose. Now, I had another idea for a seat. Let me run that by you. I would love to use one of these seats on the tractor. Big cast iron seat, very ornate. Off an old Buckeye hay rake. I have 5 of them, and the project that I have in mind, I only need 4. But I would love to adapt one of these to use on the Cub. Now, the only real problem with that is the tractor purists out in the world would give me a lot of grief for that. But it's my tractor, so I can kind of do what I want, right? But it's just, do I offend everybody by doing that? Or just do it because I think it's cool? Let me know in the comments what you think. Now, some of what we need to do is going to be a lot easier and safer to do with my bench grinder here. So I moved it outside. I don't want all the dust floating around in there. So I brought this outside to use. Let's get it going. quite a chore, but we got all those pieces cleaned up, a lot of little corners. So we need to start tackling that seat. All right, we're going to see if the penetrating oil overnight did its job, 5/8 wrench. And it appears that the nuts are big enough to where they're not going to spin. They're like square nuts on the inside of that channel. So hopefully that's the case. Maybe they're even welded underneath there. That would even be cooler. Well, a little air persuasion and it come right off. So those nuts are fastened in there, either that or they're rusted in there, one of the two. But hopefully they're fastened in there. That'd be great. So we need to, I think, first get a scraper after this and scrape off as much of this loose material as we can. Now, if there's any of this fabric peeking out of this rolled edge, I'm sure we could just get the torch and burn along there, and it'll burn all that stuff out, and then we can just wire wheel that crack. Well, for the most part, the seat cleaned up pretty well. We were able to scratch off most of the adhesive, and there's actually some shiny metal under there. But you can see where the seat was torn, where the water was able to soak in down into that foam. We've got some pitting going on, but this is fairly heavy gauge. So once we clean all this up with the wire wheel, you'll still be able to see the pitting after we paint, but that'll just give it a little bit of character. So let's try to wire wheel on this thing, see what it does. Pan cleaned up pretty decent. We have some pits that have actually gone all the way through, but just adds character. Now some of this adhesive is just kind of smearing around. I'm going to go get my torch and I'm going to burn a little piece of this. I don't want to do the whole thing in case it turns into a gummed up mess. See if we torch that a little bit, that it'll clean up a little bit better. If not, we'll try something else. Well, the torch was kind of a bust. It's not as sticky, but I think I just kind of burned it on there. It's not going to come off. Now on this portion down here, I used the Goo Gone with a little bit of steel wool, and it came right up, and then I was able just to wipe it off with a rag. So I'm going to squirt this whole seat with the Goo Gone, scrub it, we'll wipe it off with a rag. Shouldn't affect the paint because we're going to wipe all this down with mineral spirits anyway. Well, can't complain about that. Cleaned it up pretty well. I'm going to get my circular wire wheel. We're going to get these corners cleaned out the best we can. Now we got to clean up the back. We just hit 50 degrees, so I want to get these last two parts cleaned up ASAP because we need to start painting if we want to catch our window. Seat pan is cleaned up, so now we just have to do our seat post here. We created a couple more work tables out here. We've got our floor pan, our toolbox, battery box, and two pieces of the battery box, seat post, the seat post, what holds the seat post there, the seat post stand, and a washer that goes in there, our other brake pedal, our spring insert follower, our brake lever, just the end of that needs to be painted, our seat spring, our seat, and our two fenders. So we're going to get some mineral spirits out, wipe all this stuff down because we need to get painting. All of our parts are cleaned off, so let's get painting. Got our parts painted. That paint just lays down beautifully. Love that paint. It's a Rust-Oleum farm implement paint. Just lays down so flat, so nice. So we got about 2 hours before this stuff dries to the touch, and then we'll flip everything over and do another shot. We've got our paint gun cleaned up. Looking good. Well, it's only been about an hour. The parts are dry to the touch, so I think I can flip them over. It's still 56 degrees, but the temperature is dropping quick, and so is the sun. So I think I'm going to flip these over now, get another coat on, so we can get both coats on today. Now the battery box parts, I don't need to flip those over, so I'm just going to go ahead and take those in the shop. They've got all the primer they need on them. Got everything primed on the second side. You can see here our seat pan had a lot more porosity than we had once figured it did, but it's still fairly sturdy, so I think it'll hold up plenty for the cover that we're going to put on it. All we need is the structure, really. Now the temperature is plummeting out here. The weather station still says it's 50 degrees. The thermometer in the shop still says it's 50 degrees, but we're dropping quickly. So I'm hoping that this primer gases off enough to where it'll be okay. When Kelly gets home, I'm going to have her help me move these tables inside the shop, and I'll probably start the wood stove in there to let it warm up a little bit to help this primer cure a lot better. I'm really happy the way the parts look. They all look really nice and smooth. Love that paint. Well, we didn't wait for Kelly. I was able to pick everything up from underneath, from the side that was already dry. Brought it all in the shop. Going to get the wood stove going here, warm things up, because temperature is still dropping. My fingers are cold, and I know my fingers don't usually get cold at 50 degrees. So, still says 50 degrees on the thermometer over on the wall. We'll see what it gets to with this fire going. Now that the fire is going, I think I'll take a spin in Pop's rocking chair. Haven't sat in that in a while. Can't help but thinking about Pop sitting in Pop's chair. I remember him sitting in it in the backyard back in the day. Well, the old wood stove got her up to 65 degrees in here in the shop. And we've been messing around outside so long that I haven't got anything going for dinner. So I'm going to take my lovely wife to dinner tonight. That 65 degrees should give this paint or this primer a nice cure. So we shouldn't have any problems before it gets cold tonight. This temperature is going to hold for a while with this wood stove going. So hope you enjoyed getting back on the Cub here. I know a lot of you have been asking for it. As cold as it is, we probably won't paint these parts red tomorrow because we got something else going on tomorrow that's kind of a surprise. We'll let you guys know. But Thursday looks like a good day to paint, and because we don't have any cleanup to do, we should be able to shoot both coats no problem in one day, because we can start as soon as it turns 50 degrees, and then we can get them flipped over and painted again. And then this Cub will be ready to go back together, at least the rear end anyway. So until next time, stay safe, stay healthy. We love you guys. Come back and see us here at Markelly Farm.